Okay, good morning and thank you for staying connected on our next program, Issues and Answers. I'm Josephine Einye. On Issues and Answers, we'll talk about trendy issues and the way forward. This morning, we'll be looking at 2021, the expectations from Nigerians. And we have a labor leader, a religious leader, a marriage counselor, and a retired civil servant. We have Alhaji Yusuf Bako, MNN.
Bless you.
Welcome.
Happy New Year to us.
All right, okay. And we have evangelist Ifeanyi Udeh. He is the senior pastor, Grace in Operation International Assembly. You're welcome.
God bless you. Avia, the Lord bless you. Good morning.
All right.
We have Happy New Year.
Wow. Happy New Year. We have seasoned gentlemen who will be talking to us this morning on expectations in 2021. A lot happened last year. A lot. It was a challenging year for a lot of persons. It's even it was a global issue apart from our country. Global issues. We have the issue of health, the COVID-19 and whatever. But in our darling station, our dear country, Nigeria, we have the COVID-19, we have the NSAS, we have the jailbreak, we have a lot of issues. The ASU strike, they were out there in 2020, and also the security issues. A lot of people passed on in 2020 due to security issues and also court-related issues, especially amongst our young men in Edo State. How did we get to this level? And what is the way out for us to come out of this? And now we are in 2021. Do we just stay and watch that 2021 will just come and be better with status working? These are what we'll be looking at this morning. The expectations from people. What do they want the government to do this year? And what do they want the followers? Because it's not all about government. You have a role to play in ensuring that our country, Nigeria, is a better place. So let's just recap. Let me come to Alhaji Bako. In 2020, can you just give us some kind of remarkable incidents that happened in that year?
Thank you very much, Sir Josephine. 2020, like you already recalled, was a year that we be very much remembered in the annals of our country, particularly in Edo State. We will just summarize them in a way that we make the viewers to think back and remember some of the things. We had political issues, we have health issues, we had economic issues. Of course, we have the issues of problem that has to do with the youths. We had court issues. Most importantly, the issue of education, where generally the school was virtually closed for almost the rest of the year. Up till now, we are praying that they will open up properly. These were some of the very renowned that we can recall. At the family level, we do know that it has never been that bad for most of the families, because when you have to have your kids, instead of being in school, being at home, you have to be disorganized. A lot of things have to be put in place to be able to get life going, as it were. Of course, I'm happy that we have my colleague here who is a pastor, and I too on the other side. So we say that God is still merciful to us. Otherwise, we wouldn't have survived it. Mm-hmm. It was really tough, but for those who believe in God, nothing is impossible. We thank God that we survived it, and here we are in 2021.
And can I add to it? It was election year for Edo people in 2020.
Yeah, that was I said, the
governorship election. Okay, I am Pastor Evangelist Udeh. So
Okay.
can you just still recap? He has said his own about the health issues, but we shouldn't forget about that stay at home for families. It was like the first time the husband couldn't go anywhere, couldn't go to the club, to the lounge. He was just there. So can you just still tell us your part in 2020?
Wow, 2020 happens to be a year that was full of a lot of things to really, in fact, to really recap on. And it really assists, or it will help a lot of family or individual to plan proper for the future, because 2020 caught a lot of family and most individual unawares. As a head of a commission and also a head of a ministry, by the grace of God, we also share in our own parts. We also experience a lot of issues. Boils down to the areas of hunger, pain, even to the area where people are devastated. I remember throughout that period, despite there was even lockdown, but I always sneak my way to the office, meet with people, counseling upon counseling and all of that. That is during the time of lockdown, and also after lockdown, we experienced also the answers. But majorly during the COVID-19, a lot of issues happened. I came here within that period of time, I think, when the lockdown was not too severe. And I make a statement before then that the palliative measure they were giving at that time, that government should ensure that they put it in their hand. They should not put it in the hand of politicians. They should put it in the hand of a Nogie, of a community, or Diowere, and also pastors. They should want to reach out to them. Because as I witness a lot of things, I don't want to mention the jurisdiction, the environment, but I see a lot of people coming back from some places with either fuel, sugar, or something that has to do with one cup of rice, and all of that, a full family. So, but I saw that inside that NSAS period, inside that COVID-19, that period of time, the church was not really stable. But within that time, that period of time, it's on record. We're able also, it was tasking some of the money we set out to build for the fund, special fund for ministry. We divert this fund for people to eat. I started doing a palliative measure. We bought food, we bought rice, we bought beans, we bought Gary. By the grace of God, within that COVID-19, widows, orphans, and less privileged in the ministry, they were all comfortable.
Okay, that's what happened.
Yes, what happened, and a lot of other things.
Okay, yeah. All right, because if we allow the man of God to continue, he will tell us some other messages that went on. Okay, in 2020, we are still there, because you have to look back in order for you to look front better. Talking about you making an appeal for government then to give to John Weyezi, and there's issue of trust, because in that same 2020, some Ojongwe, some leaders in their own community, they collected the palliatives and they kept it for themselves. So in such area, Nigerians right now, we don't have trust for anybody. And if we want to move forward, how can we work on this?
The way forward is, I want to appeal to the state government, precisely the governor of Edo State. By the grace of God, is doing marvelously well in the way he's handling the affair of the state. I want to also appeal that there should be thorough investigation, thorough screening of the kind of people they give. Can you imagine this NIN registration? I went to a place, you must pay 5,000, 6,000, and they don't do this thing inside the local government. Sorry, I divert a little. They don't do this inside the local government or inside the place. They stay out there, put their agent there that connect them in. You see, this corruption has eaten everywhere. And so most time they should be able to put spies. They set people in there that be able to collect information. Because a lot of people are suffering. I can count more than 18% that register with 6,000 naira for this ongoing exercise. And all this thing is not really healthy for our system. So the government should not only sit after appointing people. You talk about trust. They should be able to send people, machinery, to send people underground, undercover, individual spy, to find out what these people they send are really doing. In some other country, where they send a person to go and take care of a vital mission for government, they will always send people
Monitoring
them to make sure that what they are doing is real. So that aspect of trust, I think the thing is quite terrible. It's not there at all. The government need to sit up in order for the grassroots, for the people that are governing, in order for them to really benefit from the government. So the government need to really sit up to really check what those whom they have appointed are
talking
really
about
doing. Yes.
the NIM registration and the bribe that was going on.
Yes.
Some of the persons have been arrested. They did that, and I believe that there's a monitoring group now trying to ensure that such acts will not repeat itself again. Okay, let's forget about 2020 now. 2020 is gone, and it's gone with all its challenges and its whatever it came with. We are now in 2021. Alhaji Bako, what do you expect government to focus on this 2021?
Thank you very much. You see, it is difficult for those in the seat of power to implement what they had in mind before they even started campaigning, because it's only God that can be everywhere. The personality of governor is a very challenging position. A lot of persons who have not been able to get there, we always see it as he or she is not doing well. But we forgot the fact that there are organs that need to be put in place, just like he said just now. Those organs, there should be what we call evaluation from time to time. There should be a situation where an organ, again and again, we have the issue of trust. Even those you are going to appoint to evaluate, they too have their own issues. In 2021, I'm sorry, I'm going to draw this analogy. In the area of campaign, somehow, everybody gets something. I don't know how they do it, politicians do it. In order for them to get people to vote for them, they ensure that the machinery put in place is such that at least the lowest person gets something. If we can take off from there and begin to think of improving on that machinery to ensure that even when they are now in governance, the same process through which was adopted to ensure that at least the lowest man in the least village gets something is also adopted to ensure that in sharing government
the dividends
of government is also get to those people. It might be cumbersome, but I think in any situation, why the Western world are better than us is that they implement on situations, but we tend to adopt the structure that we meet, whether it's working or it's not working. But somehow I think we can get out of that, and let's see how we can move ahead to ensure that governance is only meant for those in the grassroots and not just the few individuals who feel that it is their prerogative. In 2021, I would say that I think the first thing is that many of us have dropped from religious aspect to believing in oneself. And any nation that abandons God, if God takes the same decision and abandon you, you are bound to fall. Whether you are a governor or you are being governed or you are governing people, the first point of call should be to remember God. If you remember God, then every other thing fall into place. If you fear God, you will not cheat others. You will not steal from others. You will not take whatever is not supposed to be for you to be taken. You will appropriate things the way they are supposed to be appropriated. And those who are going to be appointed, if your base is to say fear God in doing this, they too will also remember that in the appointment you are giving to them, they are accountable to a supreme being that will ask them after they have sojourned on this earth here. And a lot of us have forgotten that we will die. But that is it. A lot of us forgot that we will die. We don't believe that we will live forever. And so we are amassing wealth without really taking out what happened to us if we die. These things you are amassing, you will give account of them one after the other. It might look I'm preaching, but this is the basis. If we don't do this, we will continue to go. We are talking about corruption. The only solution to corruption is knowing God. If you know God, you will be afraid. And I also want to say one thing which I've always said, with due respect to my colleague here, it's not of my religion. But I think this idea of appointing people and asking them to swear by the Bible and the Quran, it's not working in Nigeria. give them cutlass to swear and say if you do anything wrong, Ogu will kill you. You see that a lot of people will be afraid. Because people think not to fear God, they fear these fetish things.
Our traditional.
So they respect those things more than respect because that God is so merciful, He will wait till I die before He will ask me questions. But they think that if I swear Ogu, if I'm going to enter the next car that will take me home, I might have an answer and die. So I think 2021 is promising. If we do the right thing, I put the right people in the right place, and I'm going to advise my governor. The area, the story of Jesus Christ. Those who shout Hosanna, Hosanna, if care is not taken, they are the one who shout crucify, crucify him. So he has to be very intelligent. He has to be very watchful. After this next tenure, it becomes Obaseki, no longer Governor Obaseki. Let it do things that will be remembered for.
Okay, all right. Talking about 2021, you said about the developed nations that things are working, and most of our politicians during campaigns, they could get to the grassroots, and then the dividends of whatever gets to the grassroots, and if they could just step it up from there. All right, don't you think, let's talk about our institutions. Do you think we have strong institutions? And apart from this corruption, knowing God or not knowing God, what are the role of institutions in ensuring that things get to the right people and people don't arrogate power to themselves? Absolutely.
Fine, the institutions are there.
Are they strong enough?
They are strong enough. But you see, just like laws, we have good laws in this country. But implementation of these laws are always a problem. So the same thing with institutions. The institutions are there. But the personality you put there to operate institutions are the problems.
Okay.
So it is very, very simple. Look, there are people here we know. If I know you as Josephine, we have worked together for a very long time, we have had this program together. If I am in power and I'm looking for somebody to do something that I know you are going to do very well, I don't need to go into a kind of debate to say this. If I know you so well, I know you can do this thing for me, I should be able to say, look, I'm taking Josephine, irrespective of what the party is talking about, I know that you will deliver for me. But this is not the case. You see, there are so many issues that are involved in appointment of people into institutions. It is not those who can do it right. It is because my quota have not been met.
Loyalty.
Therefore, I'm preventing this person for this institution. And when it's like that, the institution will never work.
Be weak.
They will continue to fail us.
All right. Okay. All right. Let me come to man of God. In Edo State, we have the national issues of Boko Haram and other kidnapping and banditry. But in Edo State, the one that's peculiar to us has to do with court-related issues. And in 2020, we have a lot of issues of killings, especially our young men. And the thing is that like spill over to 2021, because we're having pockets of it. Let's talk about the role of parents right now in ensuring that these court-related issues are reduced, especially fathers. What are the roles of parents? We know government have their role. What can parents do to ensure that these children, especially and young men, are not in such line?
In such line. It's quite appalling. The truth is that by the grace of God, the area, the jurisdiction where I found myself, precisely Upper Sakwamba, happened to be one of the hits during and within the NSAS and after the NSAS. You remember it was around that Upper Sakwamba in Benin City that the first set of police station was born in Nigeria before other places take off. We witnessed it, we saw all this happen. All these things would have been helped if most parents are up to tasks like calling their children in order. There is this unhealthy competition I have come to discover among the public, that some women will be bold enough to tell you, if you dare do anything, my son is in court, he will show you. I have seen people brag with this. But also I'm so happy about what one man did at Igba. In Upper Sakwamba, I was told that by a reliable source, by a police officer that came to see me, he was in that team. During that period, after the answer, when this would have had issue, the army patrol with police. They were on patrol in a particular street. The father of this, a particular man ran out of the house, stopped the police patrol van and the army. He said, my son is one of them. He's in the room. Come and pick him. I tell you. And the army was saying, are you for real? He said, yeah. And they broke into that room. They saw something that implicated the boy. They took the boy along. The father said, I told you one day, the Lord will cut off. It was the father that called them. So there are some decent parents, there are parents that are sound, that are out there. But we have much of them who boasts, who can tell you that, number one, don't cross here, I have my children. Do you know where my children is? I will call them, my son is a cultist. You know, they brag with all these things that, you know, and that is why these things has become an issue because the court issue is something that when you hear that your child is there, you as a parent should be ashamed. You should be able to hide yourself in your head in shame. But a lot of people are blind. Apart from this issue of court issue, a lot of parents have also lost control on their daughters. On their female daughters, some of these girls hang around. Some of them fight because of boyfriend or girlfriend. Like, I just want to use this medium to appreciate the Almighty God for what He did for us 5 days ago. It would have become a case of a while. Our church is still under construction. It's a gallery church about to be roofed to the glory of God. Just 5 days ago, I stepped out of the office. Somebody almost died. The girl went and took poison because he had a heartbreak with a boyfriend. And why I'm saying this is because it connects to the parents. That is why I want to shortly say this. So that a lot of parents will take precaution. I was in the office with some pastor. After they left my office, suddenly I felt I should walk out of the office and go into the church hall. And because the light went on, the camera was not on. Sometimes if I sit up there, I watch everywhere. So I now asked my secretary that, who is that girl sitting over there? As I walk into the church hall, she said she don't know her. I said, okay, fine. So as I was about to escort those pastors, something dawned on me, said, turn. I saw this girl, she was turning like vomiting blood. She was not our member. She doesn't live in that environment. So before we know what happened, I asked her, when my PA now came, started investigating, I asked her a question. She used one of the last stress she had. She said, I took my life, and I took poison to take my life. My boyfriend broke my heart. Can you imagine?
And she wants to die in your
She
church.
wants to die. And then, are you a member? So when you take that toxic, that poison you took, why did it end up in the boy? Why church? He said, as he took the thing was waving, and so she now saw our church. And walked in, and me and my staff, we had wanted to move out of the church 1 hour earlier for an appointment. How will she walk in? Because the church, the door, everything is still. We are not.
You think that you use that for ritual?
I just thank God. Before you know what I will now call, we saw that we started tracing the number of the girl, trying to ask her questions. So we saw the number of the bottle, and she described it. She would be turning like that. She turned like this. See blood on the floor, all her clothes.
How is she right now?
Now, as God will have it, we have to evacuate her to a particular hospital very close to us. I couldn't carry that in my car. Getting there, they detained 2 of my pastors. They said they should not leave until the parents come. The father had to come all the way from Kobayi to come and rescue the girl. Central Hospital rejected the girl. End up in UBTH on oxygen for about 24 hours before the girl came back to life. So those are just the things. If that type of incident had happened now in such an environment like a church, it would have been blown. Now, one of the reason why I connect that to the issue of the parent is that, first, when my PA asked the mother, say, your daughter is about to die, he said, your daughter, the mother didn't even waste time to say, he said it's a case of boyfriend that will kill that my daughter. That's how she replied.
So she's not close to her daughter, and that's why the daughter could not reach to her.
For about 2 weeks, she left too. She was in a boy house. It's from there she took that poison.
You see, let's face reality. Unfortunately, most of our parents have lost it.
That's what I'm going to ask you.
We are going to be accountable for a lot of things.
Okay, before you continue on that, because these court-related issues, we have like 36 states in Nigeria and Abuja adding to it, and we find out from statistics that Edo State is like leading in court-related.
I don't know how long we are living in Edo State. You see.
So I don't know, is it what is going on? Is it that parents in Edo State are not doing their bit?
They are. But
how come we have this kind of...
Now what I want to tell you, I don't know why we are living in Edo State. You see, when we came into Edo State, it was a thing of pride for some of our parents to belong to some of these heavy loaded courts.
Okay.
So like if you don't belong to them, you cannot operate within the environment. And then the parents thought that they were doing something good. You see, a cow will give birth to a cow, and an ox will give birth to an ox. When these children were growing up, they were watching some of these children were carrying their parents to these courthouses for meetings. They will wait for them to finish and take them back. And to them, they grew up to believe that it is a normal thing. Unfortunately for the parents, the kind of court they had, the young generation had graduated to a stronger one. And so they are entering there, where they are now. You as a parent who had once belonged to that kind of court have no voice to tell your son or daughter that you cannot belong to a court, because as far as they are concerned, it's a normal thing. That's number one. Number two, this idea of our craze for wealth. Our parents don't bother how our children get their money. I have a neighbor who used to be a carpenter, and all of a sudden, the guy has become a billionaire. How? Three of his children, who the least is 16 and the highest is 22, have left the shore of this country for what the parents don't know what they are doing, but they are popping in money. And the guy is living good. He has closed the carpentry store. He's now riding big cars. And so, people around them have begun to lay value on that man. Unnecessarily, without relative, instead of scolding him to say, how could you have sent those young children to death? Because no matter what you think they are doing, me and you know that they are not working sincerely. So, therefore, it is the societal influence that has even killed us the more. Not the society, not the courts per se. Our approach, our belief,
the fake life,
and the fact that a man of God like my brother here will walk into a gathering and nobody will recognize him, and then a small boy who used to be cleaning his church, who finally left, they will push him out of the church and went to do something else, walking, and before he step out of the car, you hear the MC announcing his name and all over and over, and the guy will start spreading money on the ground. People will start rushing to pick them and like that. These are the norms that society have come to begin to imbibe, and therefore we are in a very big mess. As long as that is going to continue, of course, our young girls are victims, because they have grown up to believe that we cannot suffer any longer. So if these guys have what it takes to take care of us, so what are we doing with this guy that's nothing to do? So they no longer believe in marriage institutions. They believe in this idea of just go get him, and you find a young girl in the same city where you have the parents go to rent a house and living apart from the parents, and the parents don't see anything wrong with that. You even find some parents building apartments for extension for their girls, and they can have visitors so that they will not be disturbed. So this is the situation we find ourselves. So our parents, wake up, because you are going to account for your deeds. Even in this world, be careful, because we always pray that our children should not die in our eyes, they should bury us. But the way we are going, we might end up burying our children before we die. That's not our portion.
Okay, we are looking at 2021, our expectations, and that's what we've been looking at this morning on issues and answers. Let me come to Evangelist. Many Nigerians are advocating for the change of security chiefs due to the increasing rates of Boko Haram, kidnapping, banditry, and traveling right now in this country is no longer a pleasurable experience. In the time past, if you want to travel, you say, okay, let me be looking at the scene, I'm enjoying the ride. But right now, people, whenever they are traveling, their hearts is like in their mouth. And people are advocating for changing the security chief. Are you in the school of thought that they should be changed, or they need to do something else to make the country better?
You know, the system will politicize up to the area of the chief security, the head of security in the nation. The truth of the matter is that if I want to set things the way they are, it may not be healthy here, but I will just manage to make this statement that first, let me make this one that concern when people are traveling, they carry their hearts in their hands. I want to say, like between this Edo State right now to Kogi State, the highway should be brushed, should be graded. There should be like, apart from those who are in the forest trying to kidnap people, they should, at least when you are driving, when a vehicle is coming,
open.
it should be, that place should be open. You'll be able to see from a very far distance, so that you know how much will it take local government, how much will it take federal government to do this, just for the masses. You know, you are going to, you see some place where you'll be driving, it will look like the trees
will cover the road.
And all these things. And these are common hideouts. There was a time along this Lagos road, from even this Ondo, from Okada Ondo area down towards Lagos. They graded, they brushed the way. Security became more safe out there. You know, the aspect of the area became more safe because of the way that area was cleared. So I will appeal to government to do something about that. Then in the areas of changing of this thing, you know, this whole thing is this. A lot of people are in such position, pay homage to these people. And they also know themselves. So they know themselves. There are some persons, I remember some time ago when somebody was about to be removed in the position, he said, I'm going to expose you. So when I say they know themselves, what will now make you, you are a head of a government, or you are heading a particular place, and you see that somebody is not doing well. You see, there's a difference for somebody kneeling and greeting you. And the rule and regulation and the structure of that system, the person is not up to date, is not obedient, the person is not following the right standard that is for that structure of that system. That such a person will destroy that system for you. Forget the greeting and all that. So the government should tell them, say the truth. Anyone who is not doing well, like the former commissioner, I believe the commissioner of Edo State, the man I've been following his record for too long. Now he's in the first headquarters. Now the truth of the matter is that
Commissioner of Police.
Yes, I believe. What is that? Kokoma something. So a lot of us, like during this NSAS issue, there was a particular police officer in Fege, in Onitsha, precisely, that my uncle called me. He said that police officer, they were busy chasing other police officers, destroying their vehicle and their homes and everything. But that police officer, during the NSAS, they were giving him gifts. By name Yusuf, yes. He was so kind. His attitude was so nice. So when people saw that, when they were even attacking people, say, no, this one, when they saw him public, they stopped, they hold his hand, they raise him up, in Onitsha, they were in Fege. It's all over the news. If my uncle come into that rep, he knows the man one-on-one. His communication to the community, when they come to the station, the way he listens to people, he has a listening ear, he relates with people friendly, and all of that. When you put people in position, you see that area is not, it is you who is a leader, that thing is returning back to. Like, for example, the area of Boko Haram, I am just still wondering. Because one with such thing, before you know what happened, Niger will make a statement, the other one, Cameroon will make their statement, and all these things that you see a lot of serious, the system, the area of security is seriously porous. And the government should sit up and do something. I don't want to go further.
All right.
So
okay.
that I don't,
are you in agreement that this call for security chiefs to be changed? Because I said other ways, and he made mention about clearing the highways so that people can the visibility will be like better for everybody. Are you in that school of thought that they should change the security chiefs so that we have a better security in this country?
My take on this is the fact that the security chief, I'm sure most of them are in Abuja. Are they the one operating in Edo State?
Boys, and they give
obviously
the order from that way.
The answer is they are not physically present in Edo State.
But they give the order.
But every state has a chief security officer.
It's true.
If you are going to change those one at top, are you going to also change the one in the state? You cannot change governor because they are elected. I think we should adopt a method that fits each state and leave security apparatus at the national level alone. That is a national matter. If the state has a problem, when I mean state now, Nigeria as a state has a problem. You see, again, I'm trying to be very polite.
Okay.
What is the job of the National Assembly? what are they supposed to do? They all came from the remoteness places in this country to gather at Abuja. So it is their duty to say, this is happening in my place, and therefore we think that this, if you are going to say remove Bako, you should say replace it with evangelists. It's not a question of remove Bako, and you don't even have alternative.
Okay.
So
let me cut you there.
I'm coming.
All right.
I'm coming. The fact remains that we do have solutions to some of these problems, but we don't want to recall them because we are afraid. I will tell you, during the period of Abacha himself called for a prayer session for the country that involved both the Muslim and the Christians. Whether you like it or not, after the prayer, 3 days after the prayer, I was the secretary to Edo State Committee for the Muslim prayer. Something happened, God intervened, and we had peace for a while in this country. I always say this, whether maybe because of my nature, if we don't reverse back to God, because you don't think that we have a personal solution to these problems. Or we have tried everything to eradicate Boko Haram. It's not time for us to call on God to eradicate Boko Haram.
Okay.
Josephine.
All right. Okay. Let me come back to.
I mean, my brother, you are
let me come back to, because talking about the security issues, as if you are doing one thing,
yes.
Like for instance, I'm in this place, and
yes.
there's no improvement,
yes.
and more so, even the Senate, the House of Rep, they joined in the clarion cause
yes.
that they should be changed, because most of them they passed the retirement age.
Yes.
Because in this country, as this one know this one know this. And the call is this, that if these things are not improved, they are not changing. And you made mention like the security officer in the state. The security officer in the state cannot do anything if those from the up, because it's a federal controlled zone, if they don't do anything, it can be calling and shouting here, and they may not be response.
No, I disagree with you. That was why you have the Omoteko and all that's coming up now.
It's a gradual thing.
Yeah, yeah. You see, the issue is this. He said something just now. It is going to be very easy for the National Assembly to do something about this, or if they really want to do something.
If they're sincere.
Yes, because I'll go back to my earlier example. I know Josephine is capable of being the new chief of staff, and I'm saying remove Bako and put Josephine there. And in the house there, we move a law, and everybody support and say, we know Josephine is capable. Then Josephine will now be afraid that the kind of support I got from the House of Assembly, I must not disappoint the Nigerians, so let me do the right thing. Okay. It's not a question of saying, remove them. And you are not recommending somebody that will replace them.
But they have their officers, and
no,
the next person in the rank.
That is why we are wrong. If the next person in the rank has worked with this person at the top,
okay,
it might not be different from the person on the top.
Okay.
Sometimes we have to beat protocol and say, yes, this is the person we think can do this job.
Irrespective of the case.
Yeah, of course, you can retire all of them that are above 15. That is the problem. If you take a colonel and you feel that colonel is the one that can do the job, and you think we have problem, the rest cannot. Yeah, you make a pronouncement. Retire them. The person will do the job for the country, because the interest of the country. The interest of the country should be paramount in any ruler's mind. This is what I'm coming from. I'm not saying they should retire them, so that they will not go and let me on the road. But I'm saying that the interest of this country should be paramount in the mind of a ruler than individual interests. And this is what we are not doing. For God's sake, these people know who can do this job. They know them because they interact together. They meet on daily basis. They know them.
They know the pure
ones. They know those who can do this job. I have worked in government. I work in a place. I don't want to blow my own trumpet. I know what I did in that place. But is anybody going to recommend me once more to go there? No. Somebody else we say, we don't look and say, this person I think is the next person. They don't back and say, forget he has done his bit. This is what we have in this country. We are not looking for the good hands. We are not looking for interests of individuals.
Or ethnic groups.
Exactly. And if this is what we are going to continue, then of course we will not able to get at the right people to man this job and do that. So my own is, I'm not saying they should not remove them. They have long overdue. But I'm saying that in removing them, think of the people that will work for this country that are going to use the replacing them. Don't tell me that to remove them, the next person you remove Josephine, Peggy should go inside there. No, because you have worked together, you understand yourself. There might be no little or no difference between you and Peggy because you have worked, you have the same working method. And then look for somebody else who can deliver and let the person
irrespective of the rank.
Exactly. This is my position.
Wow. I wonder when we will get there.
It will be difficult.
Why? He said it will be very difficult.
I'm telling you.
All right, okay. We are still moving on this 2021, our expectations. And we shouldn't forget those that lost their jobs, evangelists. In 2020, due to the COVID-19, most businesses were closed and a lot of persons lost their jobs. And federal government, even the state government, they've been putting plans, measures in place to cushion the effect. We have the trader money, we have all these states and the federal government trying to pay people monthly, maybe 20,000 to cushion the effect of the unemployment. Evangelist, do you think this is enough to solve our problems?
It's not enough. I think last time I heard about this, and when I read it over the news, and I discovered that if these same persons that are saying they're going to pay, maybe possibly the unemployed, 20,000 every month, I'm still wondering how possible. There are two issues I have about that. Number one, if that type of fund is released, it will not even go to the right people. It will not even connect properly to the right set of persons that are less probably. You see, one person there in government that will be connected to more than 1,000 persons, that will go for the slots. And then coming to talk about 20,000, we are all in this country. You go to the same market and all of that. Please, a few days ago, was it not a few days ago, at Olukuye, a man gave out his 3 children with his wife out for 43,000 as collateral.
Yeah.
The case is at the Kedolo police station.
Yes. Somebody has helped out.
Somebody has helped out.
Somebody went to pay the 43,000.
To the glory of God.
That is serious.
I would have even been interested. Or the I heard the news late yesterday. Now the truth of the matter is that most of all these things is that you see the rate of unemployment, the rate of poverty. I sit in my office most time. If you see 20 people line up, out of that 20 people, 12 of them are asking for need, not for counseling. And these are there. And we go to the church the church and religious body, by the grace of God, we are really helping the government. What we go through on daily basis, try to reach out to people. Then on that aspect, I want to appeal to government that please, even the minimum wage, I still appeal to them, they should still listen to the workers. They should still listen to most of them, to the workers, and also improve their salary, increase their salary, upward review. It's going to really help to cushion some of all this crisis. Look at the other day now, a man went and sold his own son for 350,000 naira to add money to buy keke. You know, a lot of things happening here and there in the name of money. And most leaders, I will say, are not really paying much attention to this. So my view on this is that the 20,000 naira is a welcome, and the 30,000 naira, I don't know, because we all use money in this country. I don't know how it's going to. I appeal that if it is going to be done, possibly fine, for a meantime, they should try to see how they can work it over.
Alhaji Bako. All right, talking about the federal government amelioration, states are doing that, but the in thing right now, the trendy one is what the federal government. You hear the news all the time that they're employing 1,000 persons, paying them 30,000 or thereabout. According to what he said, is it enough from your take?
That really is not enough, but we want to appreciate them at least for even taking in that direction.
Yes.
Okay. It's a good thing that they started. I'm sure that they can improve on that. Whoever must have knows that idea. In the developed country, you have similar things like that.
Stimulus packages.
I think they started well, but I think they should improve on it. We all know that in one single market, you will spend that money and it will not even be enough.
And don't forget, so in School of Thought, we believe that this money gets to a particular region, and the other side of the
and I'm also going to say this,
it.
that the distribution of that money should be reviewed.
Yeah.
You see, all of us, when we win election, we come to the church to say Thanksgiving and others. The closest person now to me, to the grassroots, I might not even agree that the traditional ruler, because traditional ruler, some of them now live in affluence, that they forgot that is the church and the mosque. Exactly. Like he said,
exactly.
on daily basis, the people that comes to ask us for assistance is quantum. So if they really want to do the right thing, and again too, why I'm saying this, because at least some of us still have element of fear of God. I might not say all of us, so some of us are in business, but some of us have element of fear of God. So if you channel this distribution, some of this money and say, okay, we are giving so amount of money to church A to give to your members, I'm sure if the right persons will get that money. But as it is now, I'm afraid that money probably is getting to the wrong hands. I don't want to quote certain things, but I've seen some persons who do not even deserve that money.
I quite agree with you talking about the church, the mosque, because most pastors or the Muslims, they want to get more members. And if they hear that you are giving like 20 or 30,000, your church will be so full. And the more you give, the more you give,
and that will help us.
One thing should know that gifts most times don't return people in church.
Some just come collect it.
They just collect it, go. During COVID-19, I know a lot of persons that were helped. We are there today. So you just do the
thing is that we are always saying that it should be the right, probably the right. I mean, then again too, instead of just the this random thing, the state government should look at the Ministry of Education, then probably the suburb. Because you see parents who cannot buy books for their children and others. So what we used to have indigent scholarship. So this money should be channeled to such areas. I'm sure the principals know some of these very poor students whose clothes are torn. They cannot even buy new uniform. I think we should re-examine the distribution of the money.
Okay. In summary, Evangelist, just summarize your expectations in 2021.
Our expectations are high. That Nigeria will be great again, and Edo State will also be great again. We are expecting that via prayers. As we speak right now, we are in the period of our fasting and prayer. So we are putting all these things into supplication and believing God. We can't do anything without prayer. So 2021 is going to be a greater year. It's our year of doing exploits. And I also believe that 2021, by the grace of God, the wrong will be corrected. The right position of power will go to the right place. And by the grace of God, God will touch the heart of those that matters. And above all, thank God also for the president for opening the borders. I also believe that
it will remain open.
Yes, something good was.
All right, Mr. Alhaji Bako, your expectations and where government should focus in 2021 somewhere.
Well, like my brother said, prayers without action is as good as doing nothing. So we want to say yes. We intensify our prayers. We are asking both the governed and the governors to focus more on God, fear of God. We are also saying that those to be appointed into offices should be proven men of proven character and those who have at least some fear of God in them. And we also say that those of us who are going to be governed should allow those who are governing us to govern us, because it is we might want a leader, but God knows who should be the leader. So if God has chosen a leader for us, no matter where you belong, just walk with the person and don't be a destroyer, but be a builder. Because one day you might be the next person to occupy the seats which you have destroyed, and for you to start building again become difficult for you.
Oh, that's a strong one for everybody, that God enthrones, and whoever God has put there, we should work with the person to make the states and the nation a better place. So that's our show this morning. We'll be looking at 2021, our expectations, and we have Alhaji Yusuf Bako MM. He's a labor leader, a religious leader, a marriage counselor, and also a retired civil servant. Once again, thank you for your thoughts and sharing it with us.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we have Evangelist Ifeanyi G.O. Udeh. He is the senior pastor, Grace in Operation International Assembly, all the way from Upper Sokomba Road. All right, that's our show. I'm Josephine Eyini. Once again, Thank you for staying on this program.
Thank
And do
you.
have a productive day ahead.